The UK Independent Singles Chart and UK Independent Albums Chart are charts of the best-selling independent singles and albums, respectively, in the United Kingdom. They are published weekly by the official charts company. History. In the wake of punk, small record labels began to spring up, as an outlet for artists that were unwilling to sign contracts with major record companies, or were not considered commercially attractive to those companies. By 1978, labels like Cherry Red, Rough Trade, and Mute had started up, and a support structure soon followed, including independent pressing, distribution and promotion. These labels got bigger and bigger, and by 1980 were having top 10 hits in the UK singles chart. Chart success was limited, however, since the official Top 40 was based on sales at large chains and ignored significant sales at the scores of independent record shops that existed. Ian McNay of Cherry Red suggested to the weekly trade paper Record Business the idea of an independent record chart to address the problem, and the first independent chart appeared in 1980, published in Record Week, and later licensed to Sounds. The definition of whether or not a single was indie had depended on the distribution channel by which it was shipped. The record needed to be delivered by a distribution service that was independent of the four major record companies: EMI, Sony Music Entertainment, Warner Music Group and Universal Music Group. In 1981, compilation of the chart switched to research company MRIB. The chart served to give exposure to the independent labels and the artists on those labels. In 1985, Music Week started compiling its own indie chart, but failed to meet the authority of the original chart. Other weekly music papers also published their own charts, often compiled from single record shops. By 1990, the significance of the chart had been diluted by major record companies forming their own indie labels, with independent distribution. In order to break new acts via exposure from the indie chart, to be included in the indie chart, a record had to be distributed independently of the corporate framework of the major record companies. The genre of music was irrelevant. Large independent distributors emerged, such as Pinnacle and Spartan, and the later emerged the Cartel, an association of regional distributors including Rough Trade, Bax, and Red Rhino. The first weekly independent chart was published on the 19th of January 1980, with Spiz Energy's Wiz Captain Kirk topping the singles chart, and Adam and the Ants' Dirk Wears White Socks topping the album chart. Although the independent chart has less relevance today, the official UK charts company still compiles a chart, consisting of those singles from the main chart on independent labels. The UK indie chart was significantly altered in June 2009. Its new system altered the qualification criteria to include only singles from labels that were at least 50% owned by a record company that was not one of the main four record companies. This prevented major record companies from qualifying for the chart by outsourcing the shipping of the singles to smaller distribution services. These new changes were first unveiled at the 2008 annual General Meeting of the British phonographic industry on the 9th of July, and the new chart went live on the 29th of June 2009. The first song to top the chart under the new system was Bonkers by Dizzy Rascal, which also made it to number 1 in the main UK singles chart. Also during the 2000s and 2010s, many indie rock post-punk revival bands like the Kaiser Chiefs and Arctic Monkeys topped the UK indie chart. Arctic Monkeys' single Do I Wanna Know reached number 2 in the UK indie chart in June 2013, while making it to No. 11 in the main chart.